Welcome back to Your Average Investor, the channel that looks at my journey through investing, budgeting and finance. It's been a few weeks now since my last video, and that's largely because I've been very busy at work. With that said though, I've now completed my second full year of investing, and the first account that I opened within those 2 years was my Vanguard account. So we're going to hop in and have a look at how that's progressed over the 2 years since I originally invested in May of 2019, where I started off with an initial investment of just £500. Hopefully videos like this will make you see how possible it is for you to start beginning to save and invest, and how quickly that can really grow into quite a substantial amount of wealth. With that said though, let's hop straight into my Vanguard account and check out exactly how much my account is worth 2 years after inception. To start off with though, my previous Vanguard update video was around 2 months ago on April the 2nd, and that showed my portfolio at £6,888. So let's see how far it's developed in those 2 months. If we hop straight into my Vanguard account, then you'll be able to see that my Vanguard portfolio is now worth £7,803.99. So it's increased almost £1,000 in that 2 month period of time. It's been a very turbulent period of time for the markets, especially the cryptocurrency markets, but also the stocks and shares. There was quite a dip towards the beginning of May, towards the end of April, beginning of May, and I'm only slowly climbing back out the other side of that now. Now, of course, I've continued to pound cost average into all of my investments. For those of you who are regular viewers of the channel, you'll know that pound cost averaging is the ethos that I invest by, meaning that I invest small amounts each month into every single of my investments, which will mean that I average in on the price, so I don't buy in at a massive high and I don't always invest when it's really low. I continue to average in, and research shows that this is the best way to invest for the long term. My time-weighted personal rate of return currently sits at 37.19%. Now please remember that isn't a real rate of return, that is time-weighted, which means it takes into account the length of time that the money has been in the investment portfolio. After around 2 months of the new financial tax year, you can see that I've got £19,270 left in my ISA allowance, which means I've invested a little over £700 in that first 2 months of the tax year. My largest holding is still, of course, the S&P 500, which currently sits at £2,481.27. That makes up approximately 31 to 32% of my overall holdings within my Vanguard account. The first thing we're going to do then is have a look at the performance of my portfolio overall. And we do that by clicking on the personal rate of return tab over here and clicking on to view performance. And you'll be able to see initially this nice graph towards the bottom of the screen, but at the top you can see that I've currently invested £6,740 throughout the longevity of this account being open, and that has returned to me £1,063.99. This equates to a real rate of return of 13.63%. So like I said, that's significantly lower than the time-weighted rate of return that you can see on the screen now, but that obviously doesn't take into account the amount of time my money has been in the investment account. And that means that every time I reinvest new money, it reduces the overall rate of return because I've increased my total investment. There's merits to looking at both of these different rates of return, both the time-weighted and then the real rates of return, but it's always important to remember that they are not the same thing and to know the differences between both of them. Here you can see the overall growth of my account since May of 2019, where I initially invested around £500, and you can see over time that's grown significantly, of course still continuing to pound cost average in. Following through coronavirus, where I took a nasty dip down to negative 27% rate of return at some points, which was fairly scary for a new investor, having invested for only around 8 months at that point. But I took advantage of that opportunity, one of the best buying opportunities we've had for this decade. And I invested around £1,000 to £1,500 in that 3 month period of time. Obviously we weren't travelling, we weren't having to move around, we couldn't go out and do anything. So I took full advantage of the extra cash that I had within my budget and made sure that I invested and knew that that would reap rewards in the long run. So I invested throughout that period, and you can see since coronavirus, since the markets have become much more buoyant, We've seen that grow and continue to go from strength to strength all the way out of 2020 and then into 2021 as well. There's been a slight dip, as I said, throughout this period in May, but again, continuing to invest in, and I've found that this has been the best strategy for me to follow throughout that period of time. If you want to break it down a little further and have a look at this year specifically, we can click on the 1 year calendar, and this looks at the last previous year to date rather than the since inception date. And you can see that in the last year I've invested £3,590, and that's returned to me £1,022.20. So it's been a really good year for myself. I've kind of got over the first year of investing. I now know a little bit more what I'm doing, and I've got to a point now where I feel confident to continue to invest in, and I feel confident in my own abilities to understand what's the best thing to invest in as well. Next then we'll hop into the calculations tab, and this shows a whole host of different metrics. It shows my capital growth, it also shows my dividend income, as well as the fees that I've had to pay to Vanguard throughout the period of time that I've been investing through them. As we've talked about previously on this channel, Vanguard's fees are incredibly competitive. So what we'll do is we'll change this back to inception rather than looking at the 1 year at the moment, and we'll be able to see the total calculations throughout that period of time. The total capital gain that I've made throughout this period of time is just under £1,000 at around £971. The dividend income that I've had throughout that 2 years is £83.64, and that is far and away above any interest that I could have expected to accrue through investing a similar amount into a savings account. So regardless of capital gains, the dividend income alone is far surpassing anything I could expect from a conventional method of saving. Equally, the charges that I've paid are just under £10 at £9.75. Next then we'll hop in and have a look at the monthly data, and this breaks down all of my investments month on month. If you've checked out my previous Vanguard episodes, you'll have seen this utilised in most of them as well. And it shows you the month by month basis of the income and the difference and variance in the value of the portfolio. If we look right back to May of last year, you'll be able to see that I've only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative months, and 7 of those months have been massively positive. If you look at the individual negative months, the worst month that I've had was October of 2020. In this month I lost £94.91. The total capital gains or capital loss was £113. However, fortunately that month was a dividend paying month in which I made over £18 in dividends. On the other hand, if we look at the upside months, the smallest month is February of 2021 in which I made £42, and then the largest is November of 2020 in which my capital gains reached £384.31, and that is simply capital gains from leaving this money invested into my chosen investment funds. You can see then the value of investing and how quickly this can begin to snowball into making substantial amounts of money through capital gains every single month. Now, of course, I fully understand that this money at the moment isn't really mine. It's sat there and it's invested. So whilst I may have £7,800 invested, it's not real money until I sell out of those positions. So the gains that I've seen at the moment are kind of theoretical or hypothetical gains that I won't realise until I crystallise my investments and I sell out of my positions. However, it is really interesting to keep up to date with the constant market moves to see how the investment journey and how my investing is hopefully making me more wealthy for the future. We can then hop in and have a look at my individual investments, and this will show you the one blended fund that I'm invested in and then the ETFs that I'm also invested within. You can see that I invest in the Emerging Markets ETF, the Developed Asia Pacific ex Japan, Developed Europe ex UK, the Japan ETF, the FTSE 100 ETF and the S&P 500 ETF, as well as the Life Strategy 100 Accumulation Fund. Now, I am going to be selling out of this Vanguard Life Strategy Accumulation Fund and moving that money into the 6 ETFs that I currently hold, as I feel like this gives me a cheaper version of the Vanguard Life Strategy whilst still offering me excellent diversification across the geographical regions. When I do this, I will of course be recording this in a video to add to the how-to of Vanguard series that I've been putting together. And this will show you exactly how to sell out of a particular investment position and then to reallocate that money to redistribute your portfolio. At the moment, all of my different investments are netting me a positive rate of return, with the exception of the FTSE Japan ETF, which is currently down around 3.5%. Now again, I'm not too worried about this. This is one of the newer investments that I've been putting money into each and every month, and I see this as a long-term position that in 20 or 25 years will have turned around and will be seeing me that positive rate of return that I would obviously be hoping to see. My biggest winners are of course the S&P 500, which has netted me a rate of return of 43.43%, as well as the FTSE Developed Asia Pacific ex-Japan, which is up for me including dividends of over 44%. You can see all of the geographical regions that I'm currently diversified across, with North America having the lion's share of my investment at the moment at 35%. I've also got a fairly strong UK bias at the moment with a total allocation of 23%, and this will be something that I am looking to reduce. And that then in essence is a quick roundup of my overall portfolio. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I apologise if I've got a bit of a croaky voice. Had my COVID vaccination yesterday, and obviously I'm feeling the effects of that a little bit today, but we'll move on, we'll get stronger, and hopefully I'll be back for you guys in another few days with a new video. If you do enjoy videos like this, please don't forget to drop a like and also comment on the video, because it really helps to drive traffic to the channel and help more people realise and see my investing journey, and hopefully promote investing to the masses as well. If you are thinking about beginning investing but you haven't yet done so, why don't you check out one of the referral links in the description of the video. I've got one for Trading 212 as well as one for Free Trade. Obviously Trading 212, I think registration is still locked at the moment, but Free Trade are definitely still taking people on. And if you invest just £1 through either of these links, you'll get a free share valued up to £100 or £200 I believe, and I'll also get a free share as well. So it's a really good way to kickstart your own investing journey whilst also giving a bit of support to the channel as well. One of the ways that I've managed to invest so much money for myself throughout this period of time has been matched betting. Match betting is a way that you can make tax-free cash every single month through using bookmaker offers to your advantage. Now is an excellent time to be getting started with the football Euros coming up very soon in the summer. So there's going to be lots and lots of offers out there for you guys to take advantage of. If you haven't heard of it, check out one of the videos up above. And also if you sign up through the referral link down below, you'll get your first month's membership for just £1, or your first 14 days for just £1. And in this period of time, you could easily make £100 in tax-free cash. Once again though, thank you very much for watching. I really hope it won't be quite as long until the next video, but obviously all my marking, or most of my marking, is out the way now. So I should be able to concentrate a little bit more on spending my free time on actually making some good content for my YouTube channel. And with that said guys, hopefully I'll see you again soon, and I will catch you in the next one.